Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
The clock's running out on December deal drops at Lowe's, but there's still time to wrap up something they'll love. Shop great gifts under $50, like the DeWalt Elite Series 100-piece bit set. Plus, if you order by 2 p.m., you get same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Shop December deal drops while you can. Lowe's, we help, you save.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Be sure to like the video. Be sure to share the video. And if you're listening to the audio version, because you can also hear our live recaps on the Kempire podcast, subscribe today and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is pre-recorded. For the one or two of you, like, is this pre-recorded? This is pre-recorded because I got things to do. Yes, I got things to do. Okay, anyway. Don't forget to vote in the live chat poll on how you would rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City from 1 to 10. Look, the fact that we went on a trip, Greece, beautiful, beautiful trip. I've been to Greece before, beautiful country. That already is going to give me a little bit of a boost. And I can appreciate how these women work together and how they try to keep things interesting, especially on a trip, especially on this show. So I'm definitely going to give them at least a 7. However, by the end of it, and I said this before, and matter of fact, I'm going to bring up, I've talked about their seating chart already. So I'm going to bring up the seating chart so that you guys can see, we can talk about it under this particular live recap. So the seating chart came out because they filmed the reunion last week for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And one of the things that I said before was the fact that the reason why Lisa Barlow is sitting by Andy Cohen again this season is because they continuously make Lisa relevant. And Lisa, this is not a dig at you. This is not your fault. This is them. They're constantly focusing on you. They're constantly bringing you up. They're constantly making you a part of their story. I don't even think you're that great. But that's not your fault. I think you're fine for the show. But I don't think you're as great to the point where they need to focus on you so much. Okay? So I'm not surprised that she's sitting next to Andy Cohen. Because they all, especially Bronwyn in this episode, make Lisa Barlow relevant, make her like, oh my gosh, she's always doing something. She always thinks she's better than us. You guys do this, not Lisa. And actually at this point, I'm looking at all of y'all like, are you guys that lame? Are you guys redirecting from some sort of other drama? I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. But I need y'all to stop doing it. Stop trying to make fetch happen. Okay? And Lisa's fetch. Okay? So this is the reunion seating chart. This came out last week. And Bronwyn sitting next to Andy Cohen. Not sure, but we shall see by the end of the season why they decided to put Bronwyn next to Andy. There could be multiple reasons because of what has been happening with Bronwyn this season. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the seating chart. So we have Heather Gay sitting next to Bronwyn and then Angie sitting next to Heather. Remember, Angie sat next to Andy last season. Angie sort of like, towards the end of the season, is sort of like, okay, Angie's there, but I don't need Angie to be always involved in the drama. I don't. She's already hosting this trip. I appreciate this trip. I know the ladies of Salt Lake City are so happy that they can travel internationally. Shout out to our friends over at OMFG Reality TV. I just saw the news on, Tuesday evening, that they're saying that today, that Jen Shaw will be released. They're not sure whether or not she's going to go home or go to a halfway house to complete her sentence. I think she should go to a halfway house, but anyway, that's me. Okay? So, and then next to Angie in the seating chart is Brittany. Across on the other side is Lisa, then Meredith. Not surprised at that. They've really have been riding with each other. Mary Cosby, and then Whitney. Okay? I don't really have a strong feeling in regards to the seating chart. It is what it is. Then, I don't know if this was leaked by accident, but the reunion fashions were released, so we got to see their reunion looks. And look, there's certain cities that I don't go to for fashion or get excited about when it comes to their reunion looks. This is for the most, I think Angie looks beautiful, consistent. I think I liked her reunion look from last year more. There really doesn't seem to be a theme. I don't know if there was some sort of theme. It doesn't come across cohesive. Angie's wearing red. Heather's wearing like some sort of green. Bronwyn's wearing like a yellow. Bronwyn, I've seen you look so much better. I don't mind Bronwyn with long hair. I just don't like it with this outfit. This outfit, again, we're not seeing the full outfit, but it's okay. Look, it's okay. This is probably the best that I've seen Meredith look in a long time. I love this color. I love her hair. Honestly, based off how the season is ending, I think that Meredith should be sitting next to Andy Cohen, to be honest, especially with the whole airport of it all, the plane of it all. That seems to be the biggest saga. So honestly, I feel like she should be sitting next to Andy. Am I shocked that Lisa is giving us what she's always given us? Again, this is why I don't understand why you guys continuously making her relevant. Because she will give us nothing. Same hair every year since the beginning. Pretty much the same sort of archetype for her dress. At least this year she gave us a little bit of a split. It's the same MO. Fine. Mary Cosby, it's fine. But Mary Cosby's a little conservative. She is a pastor. So I like the color on her. It's not bad. She doesn't look terrible. You know what I mean? She doesn't look bad. This is probably the worst I've seen Whitney look. I don't know what this is. This seems very lackluster. This seems very last minute. This seems very, this could be my last season. The best dress for me, honestly, it's between Angie K and Meredith. I love this color on Meredith. I love the texture of this dress. I love her hair. It looks like it's just so bouncy. I love it. And it's so crazy that her and Lisa are sort of matching. Angie K's glam is just on point. Her glam is just on point. And I'm glad she didn't lean into anything in regards to, her Greek. She loves to do that. I think she looks gorgeous. Hair looks great. I mean, if her hair looked bad, that would not be good for her business. Let's be honest. So that's the reunion look to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay? Let's get into this episode because I don't feel like I have a lot to say about this episode because there's not a lot happening. And I did end up taking notes. Part of me's like, I hate taking notes for these shows. I'm like, now it's starting to feel like a job. And I don't want to do anything that starts to feel like a job. Okay? All right. Hold on. Wait a minute. I just saw some breaking news. Shout out to Philip Lewis on X. Philanthropist Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, increased her donations to nonprofits in 2025, giving $7.1 billion. I love, that's good news. Come on, tell me what your good news is. If you're part of the Replay crew, let me know what your good news is. Back to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So the episode starts off with, which I love. It's so interesting. And if you watch the wife swap with Angie K and Mary makes that surprise visit, the way that Angie's husband, when he saw Mary, he's like, Mary, did you guys notice how Angie's father lit up? And I think, who's that woman? Is that his new wife? I don't know who that is. The way they both lit up when they saw Mary Cosby says to me that Mary Cosby and Angie have really fostered a relationship. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when Angie went to Mary's church and her friends and family were like, Angie. So they really are intertwined. It's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. And I would love to see more of their friendship on the show. So the very first scene that we get, Heather seems like she's fostering a better relationship with Angie as well. So Heather and Mary go over Angie to prepare for this Greece trip. So they want to learn different words. So Angie's dad teaches Heather and Mary some of these Greek words. So at one particular point, Heather says, "How do you say snooze fest?" I'm like, I don't know if we have a word for that. Why do the editors they insert a conversation between Meredith and her daughter, both in vocal fry? Like, oh, yeah, that's so annoying. Like, come on. You got a little education. You don't need to be speaking like this, okay? Not even just a little education. You have a whole JD, and your daughter is speaking like this too. I'm like, I can't. But anyway, so they as they're trying to learn words, at one particular point, they segue to Lisa Barlow's house, where she's going through all the designer things that she has ordered for this Greece trip. Okay, then they segue to Bronwyn having a conversation with the Todd father. It seems like they're playing nice, and they might be playing nice for the cameras. I'm not sure exactly why they're playing nice now for the cameras, but it is what it is. Because we're going to talk about it a little bit later on, about how Bronwyn now has done this whole 180. I'm like, okay, you made it seem like you were all about this open marriage, and now we're the crazy ones. But all right. So that was a cute opening scene to this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay? So the group ends up... I love the fact that we didn't waste any time. For me, the fact that on other shows, they show a lot of the footage in the airport. They show a lot of footage on the airplane. Or they show when the women choose their rooms. The fact that they didn't show a lot of that says to me that they had a lot to talk about or to show in regards to content for this episode. Even though it wasn't my favorite episode, I paid attention to the fact they didn't spend a lot of time showing us everything that happened in the airport. And maybe nothing happened in the airport, and that's why I didn't show it. They didn't spend a lot of time with watching the ladies unpack or doing any of that stuff. Okay? So at the airport, Lisa says she's looking forward to not talking about Greece after this trip because being around Angie, she's constantly talking about being Greek or Greece. Fine. Okay, Mary talks about that she's been to Greece before and how much she loves it. All right, where we see them in the airplane, no incident happens. Thankfully, they land. They're in the Sprinter van. Okay, the group tries to guess the size of Santorini, and they're all wrong. They're comparing it to their last trip, and then they're comparing it to Barbados or something like that, and they're all wrong in regards to it. They do these funny little quirky things to show us that the housewives are not that smart. Right? I guess. I don't know. Fine. So then we get to their first dinner. Angie talks about having the fat pads removed from under her eyes. Like, what is that involved? Like, she compared them to like using chopsticks to remove the fat pads from under her eyes. Whatever Angie has done has been some good work because that's a 50-something-year-old woman. She looks good. I think Angie's the oldest in the group. I know. You're probably like, what? I believe she might be the oldest in the group, or one of the oldest. She doesn't look it. I think Angie takes care of herself, too. Some of these ladies are doing a little too much, drinking and, things. Just saying. Okay? And also just genetics. Some people just genetics are bad. Okay? All right. This was a funny story. Them fighting about Cartier, because the ongoing thing is that Lisa, and I saw Lisa talk about this on social media. I would see random comments, even before the season started, where Lisa alludes that Angie's always copying her. So apparently there was some sort of fight that was not caught on camera of Angie and Lisa going back and forth about who had Cartier first or anything like that. Cartier. There's a certain way, a lot of people say Cartier incorrectly, but there's a lady on TikTok that teaches you how to say some of these luxury brands names correctly, and it's like Cartier, something like that. So anyway, so apparently there was some big argument between Angie and Lisa about it, and Lisa is always saying like, oh, she's always copying me, blah, blah, blah. So Heather was just like, you know what, we're in the airport. And Heather, honestly, you just gave me an idea. The next time I'm at the airport, we go into one of these stores because it's duty free. And Heather bought a Cartier watch just to be spiteful, so she would be like, look what I got. And then she called Whitney and says, it's like a BOGO deal. girl, I'm going to buy you one too. All right, excuse me. She's like, oh, it's only $6,000. Oh, excuse me. Spending $6,000 in the airport. Okay. But the Cartier watch is nice. Okay, so they both bought Cartier watches. Here's the thing, though. This is where I get annoyed with Angie. Because Angie then makes it into a big deal. While Lisa is really downplaying it and just making fun of it. She's not mad at Heather or Whitney for doing it. She's actually like laughing about it with them. But then Angie gets serious about it. Then it turns into a serious back and forth between Angie and Lisa. Like, you're always saying that people are copying you. I've had Cartier for a very long time, and I have proof. So they flash back to a Facebook picture where Angie's wearing this Cartier watch from years ago. All right, so I feel like in this particular moment, Lisa wasn't even making a big deal about it. She wasn't saying, "Oh, you guys are always copying me." She was laughing about it. She was joking about it. Okay. At one particular point, Lisa says that, I just like to sit in my bathtub and scroll and buy things and do this and that. And Meredith makes a joke, bathtub, you're copying me now? And she's like, I'm on the floor doing it. I thought that interaction was so funny and light and fun. Angie made it a little bit more serious than it needed to be. And I was like, no, I like the little funniness. But then again, Angie wanted to have her moment. She had her moment. But I appreciate Heather and Whitney and even Meredith making that such a light, funny moment. But that's me, okay? What else did they talk about? Oh, Mary's like, I don't understand why they're fighting about a Cartier watch. Or as she said, a Cartier watch. She's like, that's a grandma watch. Oh, look, okay, Mary. What watches are you wearing? A Rolex? Probably. All right, I need to work on my watch collection. I don't have a watch collection. I need to get like at least start. You know what I mean? What should I start with? Who are the watch connoisseurs? Let me know in the chat. What should I start with? What should I start with? I wouldn't mind get a little watch or something. You know what I mean? I have a couple of Apple watches, but no, I mean like an actual watch. Watches are good things to collect, to be honest. Because they don't lose value. All right, moving on. Moving on. Should I get a Cartier, or is that a grandpa watch, according to Mary Cosby? So Angie and Lisa are going at it. Then we have that little... We already went through it. Let's move on. So the next day, because I'm just looking at them, I was like, they're jet lagged. The thing is that we're watching this thinking these women are traveling like we do when we travel internationally. They're not. They're filming a show. So if they arrive at 9 p.m. at night, they are filming. And they could be filming into the wee hours of the morning. And then they have to get up the next day and do it all over again. So it's very intense for, it's supposed to be a girls' trip. And you're like, why are they so crotchety? And if we think about it, like, we don't know their filming schedule, especially if they're traveling internationally. Okay? All right. The next day, Heather says that she hasn't forgiven Meredith. So that is the main story of this episode, is that Meredith and Heather are still on the outs. And I'm trying to understand, why are they on the outs? And is it really that big of a deal? Or is this Heather dragging a storyline, trying to produce a moment because she's an executive producer? That's what it feels like. Because yes, you can be upset that Meredith might be questioning your character, but I feel like, why all of a sudden, when Brittany was the one that was attacked on the plane, now it's an issue between you and Meredith? I'm like, this feels like you're dragging it. I feel like we've been here before with Heather, and I'm kind of tired of it. And I know I've said before, I appreciate Heather being sort of like the Stepford Mormon to kind of guide us through that element, because I always say Mormonism is a character on this show. But then there are these moments that I get just so annoyed with her, and I'm like, okay, there's got to be someone else that can give us that perspective on Mormonism. Maybe that person is a new housewife, because I'm just so sick and tired of Heather. I'm tired of her. Like, now in this episode, we're dragging this whole issue between you and Meredith claims that she's tried multiple times to reach out to Heather. We even see on the Sprinter Meredith says, I'd like to pull you to the side and have a conversation. But Heather's avoiding it. Here's the thing I will say, though. And I forgot who said this the other day. I forgot what show it was on. Oh, it was Monique on Real Housewives of Potomac, where Monique basically said she didn't want to have separate conversations because that's how things get lost in translation and people want to spin whatever they want to spin. That's how I kind of feel with Meredith, though. Because Meredith is a good talker. So I'm sort of like, is that what Heather was? Is that what Meredith was trying to do? Because for all we know, her reaching out to Heather could have been something like, let's have a conversation, let's talk on text or something like that. That's not filmed. And then she can spin it. But again, I just don't understand. I don't think the issues between Heather and Meredith are that deep. I definitely don't think it's that deep. And I'm actually kind of annoyed, more Heather than anything. And like, I've moved on from the airplane incident and now I'm mad at Heather. But that's me. Okay. So Heather says that she hasn't forgiven Meredith. Heather doubles down that Meredith said that she said that it was either she chooses her friendship with Brittany or her friendship with Meredith. Okay.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a billboard of yours recently that said 20 billion won. 20 billion is an insane number.
Yeah, 20 billion recovered. It's actually, I think, somewhere north, probably closer to 22, 23 after this year. And each year we get bigger and badder and our army grows. So the number will hopefully keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. We are always open. Our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Okay. Only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
Meredith says that she wants to talk with Heather and claims that there was some sort of misunderstanding. Honestly, I could see there being a misunderstanding. Okay. All right. So they're hanging out, in Greece. So, not Heather, Angie puts on a bucket hat. Okay. And it's a Greek bucket hat. Okay. A Greek bucket, a Greece flag bucket hat. Mary says, take that off. It ruins your whole outfit. And Angie does it immediately. She's like, I'm over it. I wanted to have a moment. Then it leads to a Mary moment where she talks about square faces and bucket faces. And she looks at Heather and Bronwyn like, you guys have bucket faces. Excuse me? But she tries to sugarcoat it. And she's like, well, bucket faces are like brainiacs. You guys have a lot of, you take in a lot of information. You're taking in a lot of information. And then she says, you square faces are dingbats. Why did the camera zoom to Lisa, Meredith, and then when she said they're dingbats, they zoomed in on Brittany? Oh. Sidebar, speaking of Brittany had her live show here in New York City this past weekend. I've seen footage of it. Look, we've never said that Brittany couldn't sing. At least with her, she can actually sing, unlike, what's her name? Ashley. And she had Whitney there. She had Bronwyn there. She had Heather there. And, Angie K was there. And they did a little Mean Girls thing for it. And guess what also? Brittany performed with her daughter that we saw on the show. Brittany, it seemed like she had a really cute, fun show that was comical, but also you got to hear her sing. So congratulations to Brittany. Maybe she'll take the act on the road and make a big thing about it. Brittany, I'm just telling you right now, if your storyline next season has anything to do with Jared, you can keep it, girl. Not interested at all. But I overall like her on the show. I think she fits in well. Even though in this particular episode, she just sort of was there. You probably even forgot that she was there, that she's even on the trip, right? Yep, sorry. Damn. Damn. Woo, woo, woo. Look, woo, 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 girl. All right. Moving on from there. What else happened? Guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the latest episode of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Don't forget to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And if you enjoy my skin, it's all brought to you by our friends over at Butter. Be sure to head on over to the description to use our discount code Kempire10 for 10% off. It is the holidays. Holidays are right around the corner. If you want to make sure you have your gifts in time, order today. Do not wait any longer. They have really great stocking stuffers. If you are looking for gifts for teachers, your service providers, like your delivery people, this is a great gift, and they will be thanking you, and you will be supporting a Black-owned business. Okay? All right. And thank you all for supporting our channel just by liking the video or sending in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps, things like that. We appreciate that as well. I usually see that after the live. It's always nice when I go into my little thing. I'm like, oh, I got a little pocket change that I could use for something. So thank you all for the support. Okay? And don't forget, you can hear our live recaps and special episodes of the Kempire podcast, including our paid Apple Podcast subscription, Club Kempire. I dropped a good, juicy episode talking about this whole saga about Brandy versus Beyonce. I even talked about the Diddy doc, at least the first 2 episodes. I'm still in the middle of it, y'all, because I've just been busy, all right? And then I also talked about some Real Housewives of Potomac tea. So become a Club Kempire member, available on Apple Podcasts, okay? All right, and you can also access it via their website if you don't have an Apple product, okay? All right, back to this. Angie asked Bronwyn if she's going to get a number 2, because she was asking about the ladies and, you know, the men being cute in Greece. Bronwyn denies having an open marriage, because then they flash back to Bronwyn relaying to the group why she wasn't wearing her ring. But I told you this before, because I think she did an interview and she's like, you know, sometimes I don't wear my ring. But in that moment, in that scene, you made it seem like you weren't wearing your ring because Todd had acted up and was caught out there in the blogs looking at other women on his phone. And then you told him that he had to sleep at a hotel. You told this to the group and to the world. Now she's gaslighting us. And this is what annoyed me. I was like, oh, wait a minute, Bronwyn. Now you're gaslighting us like we didn't see this ourselves. Okay? So they're all like confused. Heather's confused. She's like, because the last time you complained about Todd and that he was sleeping at a hotel. Meredith, though, in this moment says to Bronwyn, I can relate to what you're going through right now, but please understand it won't end with this group. And it's like, is that support? Or so basically Meredith is saying, like, I've been here before when it comes to an issue like this, and this group is going to bring it up again. And she's right. She's right. So the ladies go back to their villa, which is a beautiful villa where they're staying. They're staying at a beautiful villa. So Heather goes to Mary's room to have a conversation about Meredith and her cutting comments, as she put it. Heather says she's not interested in a combo with Meredith because she feels that Meredith will twist it. But Mary's just like, she's like, she doesn't feel like these women know how to say how they truly feel. She's like, I grew up being taught to just be honest with how you feel. Okay? Mary just gives us so many Mary-isms. Mary says they worry about things that don't matter, like other people's feelings. She's like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have said that. No, you should have. And I loved it. Okay, Mary, thank you. She says they worry about things that don't matter, like other people's feelings. Yeah. Sidebar, if you missed it, guys, we did report to you and give you an update last week in regards to Mary Cosby's son. Apparently, he is going to stay in jail until February. Yeah. So, And we went through all of that. So if you missed it, be sure to check out the video last week. It's the first part of the video where we talk about the update when it comes to Robert Jr. Okay? So Mary encourages Heather to have the conversation with Meredith, okay? Angie meets with the other women. She had given them an hour to get ready. But everyone's ready but Lisa. And Lisa can see them out there convening, and she's just waving to them. And she's like, oh, she's not ready, so we're going to leave. I have never seen someone get glam all the time and still look so mediocre. I never look at Lisa, and they even flashbacks. She's like, when I travel here and I travel there, I got glam. And I'm just like, I can't tell. And sorry to the glam team. I'm going to say it's not the glam team's fault. It's the palette that you're working with. It's the dehydration of it all. Because it's important. If you're going to wear makeup, it's important to have your skincare on point. Because, some people, makeup is like magic. But for some folks, not even makeup can fix the situation. So even when I'm seeing her get her makeup done, I'm like, girl, you gonna done that yourself? And who did your makeup in that confessional where your eye looked like it was droopy? Like, who did that? And if it's the same people, you need to fire them. I'm sorry. I don't think people should lose their job in this economy, but if you're not good at it, if you're not good at it, Lord. All right, so they end up leaving, and look, just them walking through, Santorini. I felt the warmth, especially because here in New York right now, we're having a cold snap, like a really bad cold snap. Oh, just watching them in this warm weather. Hence why I gave them a good score for this episode, because not a lot really happened in this episode. But they're walking, and then you see this beautiful coastline view of Santorini, the white homes and the light and the coastline. I could feel the warm breeze. Yes, I need to get back to like some sort of warm weather, okay? So they end up walking and shopping for dinner, okay? Which, I love to shop, so this is all me. But as they're making their way, poor Whitney, that slip and fall, I had to rewind it. Again. Oh, damn, girl. So she I don't know if they showed where she could have fell into, but apparently she could have went sliding down that hill. A young gentleman came and helped her up. I don't know if she really needed the help, but Brittany's always flirting with somebody. She's like, I really need your help. Okay, girl. I think you were flirting with that man. But, All right. So the women take a view of the coastline of Santorini at night. Lisa is just making her way. And apparently, it's hard for us to tell how long Lisa was on her own. According to Angie, she was like 3 hours late. So apparently she got to see the sunset. She's taking videos and photos and things like that. She finally meets up with the group and she's like, yeah, I had a little alone time. And here's the thing. If you ever traveled with a group, sometimes that alone time is necessary. And so, especially as someone, I like my alone time. So when she was describing, I was like, I kind of get it, Lisa. Between the cameras, between these women, because that's the thing too. It's not like you're real friends. Because with your real friends, you can just be chill sometimes. With these kind of friends, they're always looking for a moment for it to make a moment. They're always looking to produce a moment. Okay, they understand that that's part of their job. So that's part of the reason I'm sort of like, I kind of get where Lisa's coming from. I just wanted a moment to myself, and I'm walking and having a good time. All right. So Mary asked Meredith when they're in the store about her issues with Heather and, if they could move forward. And Meredith says that Heather refuses to talk with her. She's like, I've texted her, I've called her, I've even said something to her in the van, and she refuses to talk to me. Okay. I mean, we saw it. We saw it on camera. Okay. So apparently when they went shopping, Meredith got a gift for Heather, okay, as a peace offering. Okay, so she gives it to Heather at the table when they get there for dinner. And Heather is already being snarky about it. She's like, oh, what is this? Oh, can I open it now? And Braun's telling her, oh, it's a peace offering. She's like, is it? And Heather, this is where I get so frustrated in these last few minutes of the Housewives of Salt Lake City. Because I'm like, what exactly is Heather mad about? What exactly is her issue with Meredith? And I'm not saying that she can't have an issue with Meredith, but to be dragging it out to this point where you're refusing to have a conversation with her, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. But she's trying to produce a moment. She's trying to have an issue. She's decided, I'm done fighting with all these other people. This season, I'm going to fight with Meredith because I don't understand what the issue is. And then for Whitney, because this is what they all do. Whitney then somehow involves herself. What we're not talking about is the real issue, and that issue is what Meredith did to Brittany on the plane. Brittany's just like, we had our conversation. I'm done with it. Meredith's like, we've had a conversation and we've moved on. And Whitney's like, but we haven't moved on. This is what's affected the group. Which, okay, here's the thing. If what they're describing was that bad, I do believe that Meredith does owe all of them an apology because apparently she yelled at Heather, she yelled at Whitney. Mary confirmed that she yelled at Whitney. So I don't know, but I do believe that Meredith should at least apologize to the group, and maybe that will be done with it. But I think Meredith doesn't want to apologize because that would be confirming that what they claimed happened, and she's saying that's not what happened. And I think she put a button in it, or she thought she did, by having that scene and conversation with Brittany. Brittany's sort of like, we're done with it, but I can understand they want an apology. That's fine. They're entitled to an apology. But I do believe that they're dragging this to have a moment. Lisa tries to help Meredith in this moment and have her back. Then it turns into a moment between Heather and Lisa. It seems like these two that never liked each other in their first season somehow have formed a friendship. And I think that friendship is really more so an alliance because they started on this show together. So I don't know if it's a real deep friendship. Then it turns into something else when it comes to this group. How does it end? I'm trying to remember how it even ended. Because they're turning on, Whitney turned on Meredith in regards to what happened on the plane. And Meredith just gets upset and she decides to get up from the table and walk away, and Lisa goes after her. Did you guys notice that Whitney was sort of like, scissoring, they're gonna be scissoring. She did that with her fingers. And I was like, what is happening right now? I don't get, I think that's what I blocked out like the last few moments of this scene, because I'm like, what are we arguing about? Why are we arguing about this? Heather's dragging this. Now Whitney's is pulling all this other. I just can't. I can't anymore when it comes to this and when it comes to Salt Lake City. And this is why a lot of people said last week that was a filler episode. Andy Cohen lied yet again that these next few episodes were going to be so epic. I can't say that it hasn't been bad. You know, I'm grading these shows on a curve because of how bad Real Housewives of New York was. Okay, and we haven't even seen New York in like a year. But Salt Lake City, which was having a good season, now I feel like they're dragging a lot of this stuff out at this particular point. I'm still in no. I can't remember what happened at the end of the episode, and I didn't even write it. I didn't even write it down. It obviously wasn't. It didn't stand out to me. It didn't stand out to me. And normally I would talk long about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm kind of glad that I pre-recorded this. Yeah, for those that are just joining, I'm kind of glad I pre-recorded because I really don't have a lot more else to say about the episode. But I still think it was a decent episode. But I do feel like we started off really good this season, but now I feel like we're not even plateauing. I think we're going down. Because at least if we plateaued, we could be like, okay. But I feel like now we're kind of going down because we're still talking about something. I don't think we're ever going to see the footage just because of the legality of it all. But, okay, I guess we'll have to wait and see how the rest of this trip goes. But thank you, Mary Cosby, for the little funny moments. I appreciated it. All right. All right, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. We talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Be sure to check out all of our past recaps of Salt Lake City. And also, Monday, we had a Real Housewives of Potomac recap and our Married to Medicine recap. You can also hear that on the Kempire podcast, and you'll be able to hear this recap there as well. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, because if I don't have nothing else to say, why am I going to say anything else, right? All right, y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like the video. It's easy, free way of supporting the channel. Thank you to our King Scars. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers. And thank you to those that are still watching but are not subscribed. Help us get to 600,000 subscribers. Follow today. See you all later. Bye, y'all. Happy holidays.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.